I'm as productive from home as I am from the other office because I've set up those boundaries.
Originating from deep inside the Rocky Mountains, transported through the power of the internet, and arriving inside your tiny earbuds. It's the Appraiser Coach Podcast.
Minisode.
And welcome to the program. Dustin Harris hanging out once again in the podcast chair. You know, can you believe that it has been 2 years, well, almost 2 years, since this whole pandemic thing started? Yeah, I know. I want to say it's flown by, but it really honestly sounds like, it seems like a decade. What lessons have we learned from the pandemic, and specifically about the changes that we have made in our lives as a result of the pandemic? I want to dive into at least one of those today, but first want to pause and remind you that we are sponsored by a great company called ANow. Folks, please look at ANow. If you are a one-man shop or a 20-man shop, this is the program that you need to monitor and manage everything that goes on in your appraisal office. You can learn more by going to anow.com. That's spelled ANOW.com. All right, folks, I want to chat with you, not about the pandemic specifically. Today I want to talk a little bit about working from home. I often, in my coaching ventures, get the question from the client or mastermind group about working from home. And the idea, and frankly the myth, I'm going to call it a myth, is that things slow down as far as productivity goes when you work from home. And I think, honestly, I think that's a natural reaction. I think that when you think about working from home, you think about somebody sitting around in their underwear watching soap operas and maybe doing a little bit on the computer here and a little bit on the computer there, jumping up and maybe washing some dishes and maybe doing a little bit more work, and then changing the load of laundry and running off to the corner Starbucks to get their mocha. And I don't know. I think you envision a world in which your productivity suffers because you are surrounded by familiarity, because you're surrounded by the things the environment that you relax in. Right? This is the same environment that you would watch Netflix in the evening with your significant other, that you would have a glass of wine before you go to bed, that you would fill in the blank, right? This is your home. This is your relaxation place. This is your happy place. And many people can't get this idea that you can also be productive from that happy place. Now, folks, I can tell you anecdotally, I'm going to give you some real information here in just a little bit. But I first want to give you some anecdotal information as well. And that is, and this is a big if you can set up the boundaries that you need. By the way, I not to get too far off in the weeds, but I just want to set this up today. I want to talk about you working from home as an appraiser, but I also want to talk about your employees working from home and whether it's a good idea for them. But let's talk first about you. If you set up boundaries and you stick to them, if you're an individual that's self-motivated and that you can follow through with guidelines, rules, regulations, whatever it is that you need to set up, folks, I'm telling you that working from home can be a very productive way to work. I mean, think just about the commute. How much time do you spend every day commuting to your office if you happen to work at a brick and mortar office? Now, if you're like me, that's a 25-minute one-way commute. And by the way, I have two offices. I have one brick and mortar. I have one at home. There's a reason for that. I'll go into that in just a second. But I commute about 25 minutes one way to get to the office, and of course, 25 minutes back. Folks, that's an hour out of my life. Now, can I be productive in the car? I mean, kind of. I might be able to listen to a podcast or return a phone call or, a number of different things that would still be safe while I'm driving. But for the most part, that is pretty much unproductive time. At least it's less productive time. At least I could take that 1 hour and do things other than sit in front of the windshield or behind the windshield, as the case may be, right? Don't sit in front of the windshield. It's a little dangerous. But this idea of working from home with regard to being the appraiser, if you will, can obviously be a productive way to spend your life if you set up these boundaries. And what I'm talking about by boundaries is that you set some rules in your life, right? If you've got a significant other, if you've got children, for example, or you've got others that live with you, it might be, in fact, not just might, it will be to your benefit to say, hey guys, here's the deal. I'm going to be working from home, and it needs to be as if I'm at an office, meaning if you've got a problem, you can't just come to me. Unless somebody is on fire or bleeding, please don't bother me. Folks, I am working from home right now. As I record this, I'm working from home. My two children that are left at home and my wife are in the other room. I can faintly hear them through the door, but I've got a sticker on the door that says recording. And they know if they come to that door and they see that sticker that says recording to not bother dad unless it is an emergency. And if it is, you'll hear it in the Easter egg, right? But this idea that you set up these boundaries so that you can be alone and that you can focus, frankly, can be more productive than working from an office environment. I don't know about you, but I've been to many office environments that were, quite frankly, less productive than working from home. Meaning you're sitting across from so-and-so who, you name it, is having a bad day and needs to tell you about it, right? The social butterflies that need to tell you about their weekend. It can be very distracting to be in an office environment. I've had times when we had up to 10 people working in the same office. And I, for my own sanity, had to have a private office. It wasn't better than anybody else. I just needed that to get away. And if my door were closed, and this is one of the boundaries I'm talking about, if my door were closed, you don't bother me. Now, I've got an open, quote unquote, open door policy, right? But when the door is closed, that open door is closed. I'll talk to you when I have time to talk to you, but it can't be right this moment. So this idea that you can set up boundaries to be productive can be a huge benefit. I want to pause here and tell you about another benefit in your life, and that is ANow software. Folks, let me just pause here and remind you what ANow software is, okay? ANow software is not a spreadsheet. Many people get that mixed up. Dustin, why should I pay money monthly for a program that I can run from Google Sheets or Excel? And the answer is because that is a minority of what ANow does. Folks, if you want to be productive, to know your numbers, to know where everything is, to get reminders on your email, to be able to map out things, schedule out things, your work file can be there. I mean, I could go on and on and on about the benefits of ANow software, but you need to just check it out for yourself. Go to anow.com and don't just say, yeah, Dustin, I've heard about this. I mean, you've been talking about this for years now. I know what ANow is. No, go to anow.com and I want you to click through the website and find out the benefits of ANow. They are huge, folks. HUGE. They're huge. ANow software, anow.com, that's ANOW.com. All right, folks, welcome back to the program. I've been talking about the benefits of working from home, but folks, it's not just me. It's not just me. There are studies galore out there, and I think you can find studies on either side, right? And obviously, whatever information people are trying to find, they'll find. But there are some great studies out there, and just one I want to cite. And this was, I believe, from 2017. So this was before the pandemic, but I think the principles are the same. This was a big Chinese company called C-Trip. C as in cat, Trip, T-R-I-P. I believe they were like a travel agency type company out of China. And they had thousands of employees working in a big call center. And they decided to do a 2-year study where they sent half of them home. Now, folks, I will save you all of the details. I have read the study. It's very interesting to me. But I will save you the details and just cut to the chase. They found that there was 13% more productivity working from home. And they cite why and give examples, right? But here's the other thing. They also found that the quit rate, those individuals that went home or quit the job completely, dropped by 50% working from home. That's the other great benefit that you get from working from home. Think about it this way. If you got an individual, in fact, let me just tell you a true story. True story. Had one of my employees who works for me, and by the way, I've never met in person this employee because this is a remote employee, come to me a couple of weeks ago and said, Dustin, I love working here. I really want to continue, but what you're paying me is not commensurate with what I can get at McDonald's, actually. I can walk down the street and start at about $1, maybe $2 more per hour than you're paying me. Okay, great. Well, let's talk through that. I don't disagree, and I don't disbelieve what you're trying to tell me. However, I've worked at McDonald's, folks. No, it was a long time ago, and maybe it's a little bit different now than it was then, but I don't think so. I mean, flipping burgers is flipping burgers, right? And sure, you can maybe make more money down the road at McDonald's, but can you work from home? Do you have the benefits at McDonald's that you would have working from home and working for our company? And as we thought through this, I ended up giving him a raise, but I didn't end up giving him $2 per hour raise. And the reason is yes, he can make $1 more per hour at McDonald's right now than he does working for me. But there are benefits and blessings of being able to work from home and work from your own space. There's some drawbacks as well, which we've talked about, and there's others out there. But for the most part, this can be a huge thing. And think about it as far as loyalty to your company. The cost of finding, hiring, training, and maintaining individuals is huge, right? And the fact that you will receive more benefit from people staying on long-term working from home is also big. Folks, I'm not going to bore you with the hundreds of studies out there, but I would encourage you to just do a little Googling for yourself. Find out what studies have been done and think about it this way. There's a couple of things to think about. First of all, you working from home, right? Secondly, what about your employees and them working from home? Now, some of us, it was forced on us. For me, we were actually mostly working from home when the pandemic started there. I think there was 2 people in my office for about a month. It seems like about June 2020. You can go back and listen. I did a whole episode on it. But I think it was about June 2020 when we all kind of went home. And I've not looked back, folks. I have no desire to get a brick and mortar. Oh, I forgot. I told you I was going to tell you a story. And I'll just make it quick. The reason I have 2 offices is my internet at home absolutely stinks. I mean, it's horrible. I can do things like this because I'm not on the internet. I'm just recording to my computer. But when it comes to coaching sessions and my mastermind meetings that are online and various other things that need to be online, I have to get in my car and go to the brick and mortar just because of the internet situation. So that's why I have two offices. But I'll tell you, folks, I'm as productive from home as I am from the other office because I've set up those boundaries. Consider it, right? If you're not already doing so, consider the work from home. Yes, I'm a big fan, right? I also see some great things working and collaborating with others in the office. I know there's some great benefits on the other side, but for me, working from home seems to be the most productive way that we as a company can move forward. Speaking of moving forward in your office, are you a member of the Dream Team? Folks, there are seats available throughout the country. Many of them are full, but I do believe that of the 7, we have 3 right now that have empty seats. If you are interested in moving your business forward, moving it to the next level, moving from where you are to maybe $1 million company, I can help you to do that. The Dream Team can help you to do that. Check us out. Go to theappraisercoach.com/memberships.
You've been listening to the Appraiser Coach podcast with Dustin Harris. If you like what you hear, please give us a 5-star rating and post a short review on iTunes. For more in-depth insider information on how you can make more money as a real estate appraiser, visit theappraisercoach.com and sign up for the All-Star team today. Thanks for joining us. And now, get out there and create some value.
Well, first, I want to pause here and remind you that we are sponsored by a great company called A-Now. A-Now, of course, is, I guess I'll get this phone. Hit pause. All right, I'm going to just start this over because I can't even remember where I was. Thank you, phone. All right, here we go.